I'm Tom Raymont, an Environment and Technical Studies tutor at the Architectural Association. I'm in the Czech Republic and visiting some friends here in this old mid-19th century farmhouse that they converted about 30 years ago. And I wanted to show you around because there's some quite interesting and unusual features in the building, features that are about the thermal space, insulation, wall structures, ways of keeping warm in this traditional building. So this is the courtyard of the farm complex. Behind me is the original farmhouse, which is now converted and still the main living space. And off to the side, there's a number of other farm buildings forming a really rather lovely triangular courtyard, and this probably would have been an open yard here for farm machinery, animals and so on. And now it's obviously been planted up as a garden. We've still got a beautiful old walnut tree behind me. And in a moment, we'll go inside and have a look at the house. And in particular, the right-hand side, which was previously a storage area. Now you can see those two modern roof windows, which obviously weren't there before. Probably there was just a vent in the roof, which you can see from some old photographs. We're going to go inside and look at the storage area and also some of the other living spaces, and we're going to look at how they use the architecture to control thermal space, both for storage of food and also for the main living areas. Here in the living room, I'm sitting on a Pet's traditional stove with the bed attached to it. The stove is actually in the kitchen through there, and the chimney from the stove would be coming through this bed and snaking around and then back up the chimney into the roof up there and heating up the whole volume of this bed. And now it's been converted, so this is a wood-burning stove here, but it's still sending the chimney through the Pet's. And what that's doing is heating up all of the mass of this platform. It's made of probably brick, stone, plaster, and there's some tiles here on the top. So it's a really significant mass of material. And so after a day or two of running the stove or the original kitchen fireplace, this whole mass of masonry would have been heated up to quite a significant temperature. And then it would therefore keep the room warm for the course of the night. It's a very different kind of architectural interpretation of how we access heat. And it's fantastic. You know, on a cold winter's day, you could lie down, you could sleep up here. Of course, you can also dry clothes or food. What's really nice about this thermal space is that I'm actually sitting on the heat source itself, so I'm literally touching the warm surfaces. It's a much more tactile and kind of bodily experience of warmth, rather than just the radiators and the kind of uniform heating that we're used to in most contemporary buildings. This is actually a much more spatial, local, and enjoyable way of experiencing warmth. We're upstairs in the farmhouse, and here we can see the structure of the building. We've got solid masonry walls at the end and this heavy timber framed structure internally for the roof and floors. And it's been retrofitted, so inside we've got a bit of space here between the panels that will have some insulation in it, and obviously the new windows. But primarily it's an uninsulated shell of a building, so it's not really contributing very much to the warmth of the space in winter. Perhaps the only contribution to the warmth of this space is the fact that the chimney is passing through here, although there's no fireplace, so it's unlikely that they were really actively trying to keep this space warm. So this is really a surprise. We're finding another wall inside the building that stops, doesn't go all the way up to the roof. And so what we discovered is actually a kind of building within a building here. And this is where they've really used the architecture to control the thermal environment. Let's have a look inside. So we've come down a few steps. We're now in a much lower space. We've got a lower ceiling and a whole second set of roof structure holding up a roof below the main roof. And so that's obviously created a void in between the two, which we can now access. Probably these steps are new. I don't know whether there would have been an access between these two spaces. But we can go up and have a look. We're sitting in this space between the two roofs. So we've got the main roof of the house up here, and then below me is this secondary roof forming this kind of house within a house. This big void, which is about 90 centimeters, maybe even a meter deep, is contributing to a kind of large volume of insulation for the space below. It may have just been an air gap, but I think probably more likely it would have been filled up with straw or hay or some kind of material that would have even further contributed to kind of keeping the air in this space and forming this really thick blanket of insulation between the outside air and this inner storage space. But not just insulation, they've actually gone to the trouble not only of building this secondary roof, but covering it here with a lime plaster probably. It's about 15 centimeters thick. It covers the whole of this roof slope and the other one. So now not only we've got an insulated void, we've actually got a massive, heavy roof with a thermal mass. So it's contributing to the stability of the temperature of the room inside. There's a chimney inside, and the space could be warmed up to whatever the desired temperature was. And then we've got, once all of this mass of the roof is also warmed up, we've now got a really stable thermal environment. I think that they were probably storing some kind of valuable food crop in here over the winter, and they wanted to keep it at just the right temperature, prevent it from freezing.